order at 6 o'clock. You ready, Brian?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to approve the minutes of October 14th.
So moved.
Second?
Has everybody read them?
Yes.
Any discussion?
No.
Shall we approve them?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So it's 400. And then additions and deletions, we have a shirk letter from a resident, a cemetery issue that Charlie wants us to look at, and Chapin is requesting, I don't have Chapin's thing, but it's a request for town hall. So, and we will deal with them down below. We have members of the public. How do we say that, Al? SeVeds?
SeVeds?
SeVeds. The way it's capitalized, it's hard for me.
Doesn't roll off the tongue.
No, it doesn't. And then we have the correspondence. So members of the public, shall I do that now? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't you talk to us?
All right. Okay. I'll let Meg kick it off.
Okay, Meg.
Okay, well, I'm here with Al, just to do our annual kind of program update for SeVeds, which is Southeastern Vermont Economic Development Strategies. And we do send an appropriation request every year, which we do to every town in the Wyndham region to help support our regional economic development efforts. So SeVeds is an organization that was really formed to help drive forward like regional economic development around workforce, having people to take jobs, helping communities plan for the future, and then also supporting economic development, so businesses. So we work in all those realms. A lot of our work is regional, but we do offer business assistance through technical assistance in lending to businesses across the region, and we've really been expanding that through doing these Biz Connect events that move around the region and come all the way around to really engage a lot of businesses. We are working with 4 businesses in our active pipeline right now in Townshend who have either come to us and been referred out to other types of organizations for help or are getting direct assistance to get loans. As you know, we work in the schools. That's work that started from SeVeds and now is kind of self-supporting and funding through other ways, but that work couldn't have gotten started without SeVeds behind it to provide some matching funds to start that work. So oftentimes, what SeVeds relationships with BDCC is to help decide like what is the work that we need to be doing, that we should be doing to support communities, and then leveraging the funding that we get from communities to get other sources of funding to sustain projects long term. So I do, and I brought you a flyer I can leave with you, I do the Southern Vermont Economy Project, and something we've been doing now is having these municipal leader network meetings where we get together to talk about topics for municipal leaders. And so the next one will be on economic development for every town. So whether or not you have a lot of businesses in your town, helping people figure out how to strategize housing development or to support businesses in their town if that's what they want, or whatever economic development means for their town and what role they play in the regional economy to find their place and to connect with other towns. That work is supported by a grant from the USDA, but we have to match every dollar of that USDA grant with other funding. So that's the kind of role that SeVeds can play to help provide that funding that supports our work regionally, right? So we use some money that we get to get more money to do the work that we need to do. So that's just one example. Al can talk about what he does. We have a really diverse team, but I'll do something completely different that's more tied directly to EDCC.
And I have some questions that taxpayers have asked me after town meeting. Also, one was how is the dollar amount decided per town? Because it was more than our normal appropriations by quite a bit, by at least twice as much as most of the appropriations, if not more. Some were 1,200, you're 3,800, it was kind of like, how do they figure that out? I said, I don't know that. It's probably by population, but I don't know their formula. So that was one question. I've been getting a lot of requests lately for adult daycare, not nursing home, but the step in between, because our population is aging, so I didn't know if that's something you work with. And then at town meeting, most of the onus that you two had discussed was on students, and people said, well, why isn't it a school dollar amount and not a town dollar amount? And I said, we'll find out. So those were the questions from people.
Do I take any of
Oh,
those?
sure. Number one would be $3 per population, per, which I believe is
1291, I think.
Yeah, $3. I can tell you how we got to that number, which is that originally when we needed funding for workforce development, SeVeds was new and just starting out. We went to, of course, go to the biggest town. We went to Brattleboro, and that's the amount we asked them for, $3 per person. And they said, fine, if you can match that amount with other towns, if you can come up with, and so for Brattleboro, it's like $30,000-ish dollars, right? So if you can come up with that from some other towns, we're in. And so we went to Dover, Wilmington, and Rockingham, and asked them also for $3 per person, and they said yes, and so they matched Brattleboro to start our workforce development programs. So then we said, well, this doesn't seem fair just to ask those towns, so gradually we made the same ask to every town. So we do make the same ask to every town in the Wyndham region, $3 per person. That's how we started the amount, and so we've stayed consistent with it across that. And so it took a while to get into, we're in most towns, some towns you have to petition, so that's a lot of staff time to get signatures and things like that. So, but just over time we've expanded, and we do speak to every town like this. We come to every select board, and then we were funded in 21 towns last year, and on the morning in 20, because didn't go in 2 towns, so that we won. So I guess 23 towns we were on the morning, so and 21 towns we were funded. So that's how we got to the number of $3 per person. History, the way back.
Okay. And then Ally, you're gonna speak to the student part?
What was the question?
Well, the question was a lot of what you and Winrich said at town meeting was how many students it helped. And it, you kept hearing the word student, it helped this student, it helped them this way. And then a lot of people said, well, if it's a student expense, why isn't it a school expense and not a town expense? And
Right, so I'll start and maybe Megan finish it. So yes, 2 separate things, right? So West River pays a certain amount for services, pipelines and pathways, where we do have a lot of impact for the students. So that is a separate thing, but also, again, as mentioned, I believe that was started via SeVeds.
Correct.
So
Like
it's
that so we're not actually using municipal funding now to fund our programs in the school. As a matter of fact, that's some of the impact of the work we do, but how that work got started was for municipal funding. So municipal funding for us provides a flexible funding that can be used to start programs that might not be funded otherwise. So it is true that now the work that we do
is funded in the school
it's funded
budget.
other ways, well, not necessarily in the school budget, but we have other funders. So we have employers that have contributed to that. We have some school districts that contribute some. So it's pieced together. We have some grants. So we use the funding from municipalities, which last year was $110 total, becomes something that can be deployed flexibly to help us deliver programs. So right now I'm about to go to Warrensboro in a little while to do the same spiel with another colleague who's working right now to form a new program that they're working with universities throughout the state to help figure out how to bring some of the benefits that people get in more populous part of the states to our region. And that program is really in formation, and it's being funded through a few different ways. You know what I mean? So it's like the work we do keeps moving. So,
And do you help keep us informed of all the good things you figure out for other towns?
well, so that's part of what we do with the Municipal Leaders Network is to say, get people together, and we bring in resources and then let people share. I mean, I think we do these updates every year, and I'll leave you, we do, and this is our annual report,
Okay.
which our director of programs does a great job writing and putting together every year. It looks pretty fancy, but I tell you, this happens in-house. So she does a great job, and this just really shows a lot of the impact that we do. So I'll leave you with these. We're very
Okay.
excited when it comes out here because it looks.
Okay, and then my only other was the adult daycare idea.
Yeah, that is a great question. I will take that back. That's not something that we might necessarily directly be involved in, but also we can think about like what resources and who's doing that and kind of send some ideas. I know that there's been fits and starts where that has happened in places, right? It's worked, it hasn't worked. So I'm happy to do a little investigation.
Okay, and then you
just-
can let me know.
yeah, like what are the organizations that are doing that work now and what are they looking at? And I think that that's one of those where it's like connecting the need to the location, to the population, and then figuring out how to have it financially work.
Right.
Those are all the pieces, right?
So
So,
you're looking for in-residence care?
I mean,
Or
when
is that what
somebody
someone
was asked me, what do we have here? I'm like, why can't Valley Cares do it? And you just go for lunch and an activity, and that's,
Right.
half a day, but they were like, no, we can't do that.
interesting.
And,
Yeah.
and there are people that don't need, 24/7, even independent living. They just
Right.
need, while the other
Well,
family members at work or something,
Correct.
so.
And sometimes, I know in other parts of the regions closer to the southern part, because it comes from shires, is like things like support and services at home,
Mhm,
the SASH services. So I don't know
yeah,
how much that is happening up here or if that's a model.
yeah, and I
So I can
don't know
find out.
who
I
can
don't know.
afford what, or, if you have healthcare workers come in,
Right.
that's often very expensive.
Right. And I think the SASH program is more informal.
Mhm.
That happens in Dover and Wilmington, and
Yeah.
Bennington, but is there something like that up here? And if not, where would that
Okay,
live? But I
does the
can,
board have any questions further?
I would like to back up to the beginning
yeah,
and ask a question in regards to the school budget. What is the annual cost per student
for the Pipelines and Pathways program.
for education?
Well, that's a bigger,
That's a very big question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole separate question. We don't really do that. We work.
That's why I'm bringing it up on TV, because you don't want to answer the question.
No,
no,
I
no,
actually
it's-
don't know the answer to that question because that's not the work we do. So the Pipelines and
Al knows
Pathways.
that answer.
Al probably does know that answer, but.
I can-
He
with a
should know
separate-
that answer.
Well, with a separate hat on, he would know the answer to that. But
Yeah.
the
Which
work.
the following question would be, where does that rank statewide? Which would be another embarrassing question.
well, I think you can say that you'll get that information to us to another board meeting, right?
Yes.
Well, and
Yes.
I would say our work with education is that we provide career and pathways counseling to students to help students connect to career resources. So we're not teaching English, we're not teaching,
Well, and
we're not-
that's not his question. He's
Right.
asking how many students do we have and what is our, I've started to talk to Heidi about it as
Okay.
well. So I can share some of the stuff I've
Yeah, she
gotten
would be a
from
great
her.
resource for that.
But we can have you come back on the hot seat too one day.
Sure.
With a different hat.
Yes.
That's fine, yeah, right, I'll put it on
Education
there,
hat.
yeah. Sure.
So, anything else, folks?
Allie, I have a question.
Yeah,
My question is, for SeVeds, is how much of an impact have you done to this community here besides the pathways? What have you provided us in the last year, 2 years to anyone in this community, in a sense of what you're trying to do for projects? Is there any list of projects or anything that has been done?
well, Meg, you said you had 4,
We have 4 businesses that are currently receiving services from our business team. So, and a business means that could be doesn't have to be a brick and mortar business. It could be a service business, things like that. So that would be getting technical assistance to prepare them to get lending, or that could be they came to us and needed resources, and we, hook them up with a score mentor or another lending source outside of our money.
I'm just trying to figure out is, are we
Yeah,
getting
well,
what we're
it's
getting
hard.
or are we getting anything or not?
Right, well, and a lot of the work we do is hard to quantify in that way because, for example, how many people live in Townsend but work somewhere else, maybe for a large employer, and so, we do a lot of work with our largest employers to make sure that they stay here and are healthy and are employing people. So it's hard. Some of the work we do is behind the scenes and hard to see, so I totally relate to that. So the number we can always draw on is like the Pipelines and Pathways program that's helping students directly, and then also things like, how many people attend.
Business assistance is
easy.
That's the biggest,
What's easiest
one of
to
the
track?
easiest ones.
It sure is. It's the easiest one to say, we know, because we have that information in a computer. So some of the other things to say, well, we stopped a large business from leaving that employed 150 people, and maybe 5 of them lived in Townsend, that's really invisible, kind of, but.
I just wanted to ask that to get it
Absolutely.
out there.
Well, we are getting, our committee that screens these, we're asking them to ask everybody, how many people in Townsend do you serve?
Right.
Because some of these requests have been on there forever and they're
Right.
just rubber stamped each year. And one last year we found out, we went to go pay them and they were out of business.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We're still in business, and I will
Yes.
do a town impact report, so
Good.
I am the one that has to pull together all that data, so I will.
It would probably be fun for you.
It is, actually, I kind of enjoy it. I sit down and I have a lot of spreadsheets, and so I'll pull that together and I'll get it to you, and I'm planning to do that before the end of November,
Okay.
if that's in
And
time.
Nick has a
Did you
question.
have a question?
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to kind of what Dale was saying, but maybe just a little more broadly. I mean, like, what is something visible that like people can see your impact on businesses just in the region, right? I mean, like we already said, we're all very interconnected. Maybe not Townsend specific, but like, what is something that like people can really see? Like, oh yeah, that is the SeVeds impact.
Well, let's see. What would you say? Like business-wise, I mean, then we get to go to a ribbon cutting. That's really exciting. I mean, one of the things that we've been working on a lot is, and this isn't a Townsend impact, but this is the type of example. For example, the Putney Winery in Putney, we helped pull together a transition to employee ownership so that the owners of that company could retire, leaving their business in the hands of the people that were already working there and running it, and to ensure that that business was sustainable for a long time. So that's the type of thing that we do. And we love to our business team is working a lot on those types of business transitions that can take a really long time, but that instead of having someone retire and just leave and close the business, how can we make sure that there's.
And do you ever take phone calls? Because I've been thinking lately about Mary Myers. They sold the business to an out-of-country company, and now all of a sudden that company is selling the real estate. So it's assumed that the business will just be, once they sell it, who knows what they'll sell it to, or if they'll sell it, will they keep their business open? It's a big employer in
Right.
Townsend, and it's a big tax producer. So do we call you and say, look, this is coming down the horizon, when do you get involved, or who has to ask you to get involved?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely that. We would not be answering that question, but I would say absolutely call
And then get some information.
and get some information. And the answer may be, there's nothing we can do right now, but here's when.
Here's what you look for.
Yeah, yes, 100%. So I think I would say, don't be afraid to call.
Okay.
And it may not be the answer you want, unfortunately.
No, because I don't even
want.
really know what's happening. When
Yes.
something's for sale, you don't know what's gonna happen.
No, I feel that, yeah, no, you can always call or put in an inquiry for our
okay.
business team, and they will come up with what they can pull from their experience.
Okay, I think, I don't have any other questions for you
I'm gonna
folks.
leave you with these lots of information.
Okay, and then you have a safe trip to Warrensboro?
And then, yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go do it again with just as much enthusiasm. And I have to say, I really loved, we did our Get On Board program, which is something that we do to encourage new volunteers. And the first Get On Board ever, which was 2 years ago, we had in this space, well, it's upstairs, but so I feel very like
At home.
at home. So thank you for your nice town hall. So that's the Municipal Leaders Network, and then everyone with these, that's our. Anyway, so this has a lot of numbers in it.
Thank you.
I love what they did this year was to pull out a lot of numbers. So that is we can go through and find lots of impact there.
Thank you, Meg, thank you,
Yeah,
Al.
that's available.
And should I put you on the next agenda?
Oh, for
The school
board?
figures?
What's that?
For the school figures?
You can. I'm no longer the chair. I'm the vice chair, so you
Okay.
want to talk to Drew about that. But sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right, well, maybe you can talk to Drew, maybe the two of you can come. So,
maybe.
but then we would answer a question. Asked and answered, right?
Just send it along.
All public information on our meetings, so yeah. It's,
All right, we are up to correspondence now. And we have a letter from Charlie Marchant about the cemetery. Does anybody want to paraphrase that? Bye, guys.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
To me, it sounds like it's a problem that happened in the past. The landowner let trees grow too much. They fell and broke a stone. And now Charlie has alerted them and they want the cemetery to pay for half of it. And he's saying it's not a cemetery expense. If the town wants to pay for half of it, they can. But the lady said they're working on the tree removal. One tree that you requested to be removed is growing through the stone wall. I understand that means it belongs to both of us, I think it says. The town who owns the cemetery. Both of us and the town that owns the cemetery. Therefore, can we split the removal? And then Charlie responded to me in regard to it, so I want to know what the board feels about it. Or do you need to go look at it?
Well, we did put a line item in the budget for tree removal for this very reason, but I'm not certain yet if this is in the town's right of way or if it's on the resident's personal property, which is gonna make a difference.
Right, so how do we figure that out? Charlie's kind of washed his hands of it and said it's not cemetery, it's between you and the taxpayer.
Well, he said he's gonna research the wall part, which is that, he says, I assume the wall was built to enclose the cemetery as Vermont statutes require walls around cemeteries. This to him means that the town built the wall when they established a cemetery and they own the whole thing. The landowner is saying that the tree was growing under the wall,
Or
through
through
the
it.
wall. So maybe we could wait for Charlie to bring us his research from the wall part and then we can go
Okay.
from there.
Okay, so we
Fine
will,
with me.
without a motion, we'll just pass over it until we get from Charlie.
Additional information.
Yep, and then the next one is from Madame Shirk on Simpsonville Brook Road. She is basically giving kudos, her words, to the Green Mountain workers and what wonderful material they used, etc. And then not giving kudos to the road crew because they came and graded the road. And it's my understanding, I just had a talk with a different taxpayer, that when Green Mountain they used very high grade material, which was wonderful because we got a big benefit from that, but they didn't put a crown on it and that the town had to come back through and crown the roads. So
Is that true?
They never did an end-to-end grading, so it was where they left off each day. There was, transitions. She only sees what she sees. She lives on the first 300 feet of the road.
Yep.
So, I'm not gonna just go spot grade if the whole road needs to skip over the good spot, So, they did grade pretty flat to begin with, so we could go back and put a little ground on it.
So I don't know how to respond to this. And personally, I don't think I'm the best person to respond to
I
it.
don't really
Well,
think she's asking
the
anything.
answer is what Jeremy just said. There was no crown in the road,
Right,
and there needs to be a crown in the road
so that's why we did it.
for water to sheet off, and that's why it was done.
So can our answer
Why-
just be a matter of the recording?
Yeah, I don't think she's asking for an
How do I
answer.
win in this situation for doing my job?
No, you don't
You
need
know, it's
to.
like, if I hadn't come back and graded the road to smooth the whole length of it up, they'd be complaining about that, so.
And I had traveled it, and they were just doing spot every day.
You know, they were
It
doing
was
about
not great.
2,200 feet a day, and just, you know, they graded out pretty decent, but then they just picked right up from where they left off the day before.
I mean, they built the road up about 10, 12
6
inches,
to 8 inches.
at least.
It was a minimum of 6 inches is what I told them.
Yeah,
So when Bucky's supposed to give me a tally on how much material was used on each road, and when I get those numbers, the taxpayers are gonna be shocked at how much and how much it's gonna save them, you know, over the next, I probably won't have to touch those roads with gravel for 15, 20 years, you know? So it's like,
So it was a win-win
yes, it was a
situation.
huge inconvenience to have these companies do this, but in the long run, we had 10 culverts replaced on just Simpson Brook alone. So it's like $20,000 worth of pipe, just pipe, you know, so it's, you know, I don't know.
and it's true. It was a major inconvenience for 5 friggin' houses for 10 weeks. Freaking bullshit. For 5
I
houses.
don't know why you're yelling at me, I didn't make the decision.
I'm not yelling
No,
at
the
you.
select
I'm
board
yelling
made
at the
decision.
camera.
Okay.
Well, I'm reading this as a statement, so she put her complaint in, but she does not ask for anything in particular,
Okay.
so I think we can move on.
So, all right, and before warrants, it's my feeling that we should talk about that tax sale warrant. Remember did you push the warrant folder over to me? It was the $480 that
Yeah.
and I was not happy with what I found out when I researched, because the $480 was one taxpayer that had told the lawyer she would file bankruptcy if they tried to take her house. And he felt that it was better to put her on a payment plan and include the $480 of his fee. He wasn't waiving his fee because of his decision. He was still charging the town his $480 for that parcel. So basically, we didn't get paid for her back taxes, and we paid for his legal fee for that parcel. And last meeting, when we were debating paying this and holding it back, Elaine had already paid it because Becky called her and said, "You've waited long enough to pay the lawyer, you need to pay him now." So she paid him on Becky's say-so, not ours. So to me, those are two things that I wanted to share with you, because I don't think they're quite appropriate. I mean, I think if I was a lawyer and said, I wouldn't charge the $480. I'd say, pay me when you get it from back taxes, you know? And then when I said, well, we didn't even know this, we weren't asked to approve the warrant, we weren't asked about the deal with the $480. She said, I gave it to you. Well, she gave it to us in this,
Which didn't explain that at
which
all.
didn't explain anything, and it was really hard to weed out
It was
as
the
well.
source of all of our questions.
And
Which is why we held it.
so, what am I saying? I guess do we have to sign it? It's already been paid. You know, I'm a little annoyed about that one. And
It goes back to the school budget. I mean, years ago, we never signed the warrant for the school budget, but they had to be paid anyways, so.
right. So, you know, do we leave this unsigned
Yes.
forever?
Yes.
Okay, that's sort of my feeling. Okay, this here is informational only. It really doesn't need to be signed because it was voted on at town meeting. It's the appropriations. And I did pull the town meeting minutes that tell us that the figure is correct.
Okay.
So that's one. And So, as far as I'm concerned, we might do the warrants later, but at least the warrants now, who wants to read them in Rob's absence?
I don't have them in my packet.
Okay.
Everyone else does.
Probably not.
Here.
Oh, because Connie didn't have them, and Connie's not here, that's why.
Oh dear.
So, shall we just say them as I see them? I won't read this first one.
Do you want me to add them up? So we know what we're motioning, because we wouldn't want to
Well-
pay them, right?
I'll read them and you do the math.
Yeah.
The informational one on the appropriations is $19,488 even. The payroll is 12,000, wait, that's 13,000, right?
13447.
13447.10. And payroll taxes are 6350.39. Fire pond, I have a question about this, but we'll do the math first. Fire pond is 5171.50. General is 6598.04.
986. 65,986 and 4 cents.
And 4 cents. And then highway is 37,922.59. And the question I had on one of them while Katie's doing that was the fire pond said grant. And so I don't know, does that mean we're getting it paid back? But
You
it
do it
was
one more
like
time,
$5,000, so I didn't look in the town report to see.
We do have a fire pond going in. Yeah, some of it is all.
This
grant,
is,
but
this
I'm
one
not-
is Jordan Hill Fire Pond
Oh, that was a repair.
Trudell.
and Truesdale.
Yeah, it should have been 500 or something, maybe there's.
Well, Truesdale is $5,000 and the Jordan Hill is $175. So but it says grant, so,
Grant expense.
No, Jordan Hill, I have to do this.
I don't know what that means to us.
So, should I make a motion?
Sure.
Alright, I'd like to make a motion to pay the warrants that Ally just listed for a total amount of $148,365.62.
Okay, you made the motion,
Second.
Nick seconds it, all those in favor?
Aye.
Can
Any
you go
further
back to the
discussion?
informational, just what was that again? It was from,
There were two informationals.
it was the social services?
One was the appropriations for the social services,
Uh-huh.
and the other was the already paid lawyer bill.
Yes, which we're continuing on to sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and should I put a line through this to indicate we're not signing it, or?
Sure. Done.
Good. Okay,
Mostly red.
Purple's close enough.
purple's good.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
and maybe we have as part of the minutes, you have that figure? Good,
148, 365, 62.
Yeah,
good. If you wanna just pull that out, we can give that to her, that she could include in the minutes, or we can take a copy at the.
yeah, I didn't list, well, I tried to, but I wasn't fast enough.
I think I wrote it all.
Okay,
Okay, Helen's faster than
all
me.
right. So shall we move on?
We have to vote.
Oh, we have to
didn't vote
vote. Okay. Any other questions, guys?
Yes, why are we paying mileage reimbursement for the highway department?
I can only assume something, so I'll let Jeremy speak to that.
Pull the one.
Because we've had this conversation multiple times, that it's cheaper for us to run personal vehicle, like running the trucks to Fairfields and back and forth. Like we went biking today, that truck.
You know, that 1 ton is not the best driving truck up the highway. It's all the work we've done to it, it's still chasing the thing all over the road. And I believe we've had this conversation before if Rob was here, he could clarify this.
Oh, I know, we have. Ally's the one that said she gave you permission. But Ally's one person, and it takes 3 people to make a decision.
Well, except that at that point, the board agreed that it was cheaper to use a person.
After the fact.
After one fact, a long time ago.
Yeah, we did have one special meeting when the truck was down to talk about using your personal truck.
Correct.
That was like a limited instance, I thought.
Correct.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
And we can look up the motion, but I thought it was agreed upon that it was cheaper to use. Plus, didn't you just have 2 trucks out? So, Jeremy, do you want to speak to it further, or Steve, do you want to continue the conversation?
No, makes no sense. I won't sign no warrant.
Okay. So, we haven't voted. So, all those in favor of accepting the warrants?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
And Rob's absent. So, okay. So now we are on to the highway report, Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm back. Surgery went well.
Let's see you walk. Get up.
I can stand up straight.
Okay.
You can walk around. I'm good.
Alright.
Physical therapy's going well. No more joint pain. So,
Good.
but I do realize how bad my left one is now. I do have that one scheduled for the first week in April. So just a heads up. But yeah, we're just finished up our fall grading. We have a few little spots to touch up here and there.
I will tell you, I frequent Oakwood Cemetery, and that road is, the potholes are terrible. And Nick walks it, and I'm sure he knows.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, so the Freightliner body replacement's complete, so that's back on the road. The tandem should be done this week. I just talked to Ed Friday. They were putting them, actually, no, he called me yesterday. Friday he called me and said they were gonna start putting the body back on it today. So that should be back hopefully by the end of the week, if not next week, and we will have a full fleet of trucks to go this year. Everything is in great working order at this point, so GMP's pretty much done. The fall cleanup crew's got a few punch list things we gotta go over. I'm gonna meet with Bucky Adams, the Adams crew guy, this week and point it out. I met with Chris Reebok today. We did a ride around to make sure we were happy with everything. So we're gonna be signing off on that. Other than that, we're
The floor on the shed?
Floor's done in the shed. We'll open sand beds today and hopefully we get that stuff full. That was done quicker than he was expecting, so.
And the bridge on East Hill?
Bridge on East Hill, they poured the footing and the walls today. You're gonna let it cure a couple of days. Probably be back on Thursday, weather permitting, to backfill and then pave on Friday. So that'll be complete hopefully by the end of the week.
Good. And I was happy to see that we got the road line striped.
Yeah, they finally put us, we got pushed back because I had called because of the crack ceiling, so they kind of stuffed us in the back.
Yep.
We had to call and remind them that we're still here and waiting. So that's done. I know somebody was asking about fog lines.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
I know we've never done them in the past.
We have done them in the past. We actually had a line item budget for fog line. There's actually money still sitting in there,
Oh, there is.
somewhere
It's
around,
like $2,700.
yeah, $2,700.
But there is some money. So I will start trying to get some estimates.
And didn't you say that the school had one we could borrow?
The school has machine they use to paint their fields in their parking lot that they said he would let us borrow to do parking spots.
But not the fog line.
Not, I mean, unless somebody wanted to walk the 11 plus miles.
Oh,
Actually,
it's
it'd
that
be
kind of
22
thing?
miles of the fog line. I mean, I've seen it done before.
So that would be good physical therapy, Jeremy.
Right?
Just make sure it's done before lunch.
I thought it was a machine.
So, yeah, I mean, start looking into having somebody come do fog lines for us. Probably not, it wouldn't be till next year at this point.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know, I know Connie was gonna look it up, it's probably with V-Trans, but about the center line for Route 35?
It's done.
It's done, okay, I haven't
It
been
was
up there.
done last week. The state does all that for us.
Right,
We just, like I said, we put it off because of the paving and the crack sealing. So
And
that
then
they
we
weren't-
didn't get back on their list, but
Yeah,
we
we
did
kinda
in
got
time.
pushed to the end,
But it
and
happened.
I think we might have been the last town to get all their lines done, so. So you put that in this year's budget, the fog lines? Cause otherwise, if it was in a different year, if it wasn't put in a reserve account, you don't have that.
It
money.
is a reserve
It is a
account.
reserve account.
Is it?
It's
But
on page 21.
If Jeremy can get a quote, and then we can fund it.
I doubt $2,700 will be hit.
No.
No.
We can plan for next budget
That
season,
might
but
be
we're in the
okay.
middle of budgeting now, so if it's.
Right.
Yeah, so,
Okay,
anybody got any questions?
no, there's a couple of things for you later on, you know, like the sand
Yeah.
bids and the transfer station, but I just wanna say welcome back, and I'm glad you did as well as you did.
Yeah, I was amazed at how simple it went, to be honest with you. It was literally 4 days, and then it was almost completely pain-free. Just, I mean, my muscles are still sore, but
Huh.
the joint pain was gone instantaneously. It
Good.
was-
wow.
Very good.
Okay,
Happy for you.
Me too, I can actually stand up straight again.
Now you can play golf with Dad.
Not till next summer.
so a quick treasurer's report, money we
Yeah,
have
right?
is $656,296.85, and then our swing account has the normal $30,000.
Just have the town clerk.
Town clerk brought in $1,746 in the first 2 weeks in October. And then we go on to the chair. Europa contract cybersecurity. Have people had a chance to not only read this but digest it?
No.
Okay. I personally think we should pass over this and digest it, because what I understand them saying is starting in January, it's all or nothing. So swallow the big ticket or bye-bye, or you have a 3-year contract. So I'm not sure how I feel about it, and I would like the board to get some firm feelings.
Okay.
So we'll pass over that one, Con. And the tax sale warrant we just discussed. The transfer station attendant, Karen Saricchio's last day was today. We have one taxpayer that would like to do Tuesdays, and we had one person that was interested but has just declined. It's open for discussion, board.
Who's our candidate?
Liza Martin.
We didn't receive any other applicants.
No, Jariah, Mike Bill's son, was interested, I heard through the grapevine, and I called him, and he said yes, he was interested, he would come in and fill out an application. I actually spent time reworking the application, so it didn't have all the CDL license on it, and he didn't come in, and I asked Mike today, I said, what's going on, and he called him, and he said, no, I have to decline. Can't fit it in he's already working. And Wayne has told Connie that if we find something, Jeremy and I are reviewing Wayne Thursday, but if somebody else wants all 3 parts, he'll give up his days for somebody to have continuity, but we can't, maybe if we put it out for 3 sessions instead of just, because our ad was a little ambiguous almost.
Yeah.
You know, we left it that way so that if somebody said, I'll do all of them, I'll do one of them. I'm not sure that Liza's the right fit, and I don't mind saying that on camera. It's a difficult job, you know, you've got snow plowing, you've got ice and things like that in the winter. You've got having a, how would I say this? A town-supportive attitude about the rules and how things work there, and not getting into a debating about everything. I'm not sure it would be the best thing. And we did ask the road crew if they would, how would you say it, adjust their hours to be able to work the shifts and not have an overtime on the Tuesday, and they basically said no, they don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And they would, like Red would stay, but he'd want overtime for it. And I personally feel like we'll just do Thursday and Saturday until we can find something, but that's my one feeling.
Well, I think we should go
The other
back.
side of that is we're getting into snow season too,
Yeah.
so there's,
They might not be available to do
yeah, we
it.
may not be available to cover those that day
Mhm.
too, so.
If Wayne is okay with us putting it up for all 3 days, I would say we should edit our posting and try to see if we get anybody.
That doesn't help us with next Tuesday.
It doesn't help us with next
So-
Tuesday, but overall.
We could, I'll ask Steve to ask Laura, or instead of me, because I'm just one person, right, Steve?
Right.
We could get Laura or Craig to do next Tuesday, and hopefully we would. I have a feeling that when we talk to Wayne on Thursday and we give him, I took the job request that we put out, and I made a job description with it, and, you know, with how many pounds you have to lift and move and do things like that. I think Wayne's gonna go, I really can't do that. So I think it may end up being all 3 positions, you know. And we used to pay Eddie more to clean in the barn, you know, the bathroom and the workroom and things like that, so it could be a little bit better than just the bare bones 3 days. We have it budgeted. But, so,
Good with me.
do we need to make a motion or just,
To repost it.
yeah? And you're gonna ask
I,
them?
I thought we were originally posting for all 3 days, not just one day.
No, remember I said, well, this is very, it's not giving a lot of detail, and,
Yeah.
and the board sort of felt that was what they wanted to do, because they didn't know if it was for 1 day or 3 days. So, like, let the people come and then we discuss it depending on, like, Jerai would have been a real great person for 3 days.
Right.
You know, he's young, he's strong, you know, not to be ageist, but, you know, I wouldn't want to be out there shoveling in the snow and everything. So Steve's gonna ask to get, I'm putting you, maybe your word, come on.
Laura?
Laura and Craig in the past have been very helpful.
Craig's been more than willing to help if you give him anything on this.
Yeah.
I don't know about Laura, because she won't even work with me anymore. So,
Well, you trimmed her tree.
but I didn't trim her tree.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, you cannot even notice. You cannot even tell that something happened there.
So Steve's gonna find a replacement for us for Tuesday, and then we're gonna put out, I'll tell Connie to put out a notice. I will meet with Jeremy and Wayne on Thursday to get that final highway-ish review done. And then we still have to do your review. Nick and I are gonna do your review, so we have to schedule that. And then we'll know if we're doing it for all. I think we should just go ahead and write it up for all 3. And, you know,
So for the Tuesday that you're gonna follow up with Laura and or Craig, is that for 2 Tuesdays to cover the first 2 weeks in November then?
probably very smart of you to say that. Okay,
So I will call tomorrow, make the phone calls, and I'll let you know who's gonna be covering on the Tuesdays, and I'll do the same for you.
okay.
And
So you
then
know.
if nobody will do it on Tuesday, are you paying or are you closing?
If nobody will do it, we'll find somebody to do it. I don't think we can close like overnight.
I don't recommend closing.
I mean, if we're gonna close Tuesdays, but put it up that, you know, December 1st it will only be Thursday and Saturday. Don't do it like next Tuesday is the first time of being closed.
Right.
Um,
I mean, you don't recommend closing on Tuesdays, do you?
No, I mean, they've all, every day has been busy, so.
We have had people
So-
put recycle on the front porch because they're angry that it's full or the gate was
Turn
closed.
some away.
Yeah,
Change some hearts and minds.
Everybody's got their one day, you know, they set their schedule, I'm gonna do my stuff on Tuesday or
yeah,
Thursday or Friday,
right.
you know, interrupt somebody's routine, they tend not to be happy about that sometimes.
Um,
Expand.
okay, so I think we know what we're doing. Grant coordinator, are you ready for us?
I am. All right. So, okay. So the highway committee has been meeting a lot, and since a lot of what I do has to do with highway grants, I will start there. We have started to put together a spreadsheet of our grant-funded projects. That's in the early stages, but I think that will help us come town meeting and just keeping ourselves in line about where this money is going, coming in, and where it's being dispersed to or saved or whatever. So that's something that'll come out eventually that we'll share with the board once we've tweaked it a little bit. It's very early stages, but that was a thing that Dale and Connie kind of were talking about for a while. All right, Bridge 43 and Bridge 41, those are two structures grants. One is for the bridge itself for 43 is the bridge itself, and 41 is the engineering study. So I mentioned those because we had to start our RFPs for both of those projects, and we met with Megan Brunk from VTrans to start writing the RFPs and discuss contractors for the engineering study and how to get those people, because when we decided to apply for these before, she was part of that process and said, come to me when you're ready and we'll discuss that. Also, writing engineering study RFPs is pretty out of our wheelhouse, so we've been working on that. And then
I'm sorry, are those the bridges from the special article appropriation?
that one is Bridge 43.
Okay.
And so we need to take our next step so that we know how much it's gonna cost, so that we can then decide moving forward in Bridge 41. So we also had to start talking about our Bridge 43 match for that engineering study, and then we also submitted some questions to Scott Jensen. So that match is gonna come later, but that, we had to talk about that come budget season, so that's where we're at. Category C Stream Bank, we budgeted that with the highway committee, so that project will be happening, I believe, next summer. Let's see, Better Back Roads, about the inventory, that has everything to do with Jeff Nugent, so from Wyndham Regional, so we discussed that at our budget meeting, and that's all moving forward, and that's mostly a Wyndham Regional project, and then Jeremy works on it with them. Grants and aid, we met with the highway committee, talked about our match. So our match from this year, all the work was submitted on time. It was submitted on 10/6, so that's in the works for our reimbursement for that. And our match for fiscal year 26 is gonna be around $7,000. And we needed to fit that into our highway budget, so those are all things that we've been deciding on. VLCT passive, I submitted for the reimbursement grant on 10/8, and I believe 10/18, she got back to me and said that we're receiving the grant for the 50%, they would not cover the lift. So $2,109 is what we're being reimbursed, because we had already submitted everything that they would have asked us for when they gave us the announcement. They're just sending a check, so that should be in this week.
Awesome.
I contacted Elaine to say, let me know when that comes in, because as we spoke about, we need to know where that money is gonna go. So, it's $2,109, and I'm wondering from the select board where you want that reimbursement to go.
What is your suggestion?
Well, that's where it gets funny because it was for the fire alarms for the garage. So do you want it to go back into garage? Is that general fund? Garage?
Well, the order, on the auditor's recommendations, he's saying the garage should be part of the 200 fund. But because of NIMRIC and the treasurer say this year they can only bookkeep to the 100 fund, but next year will be budgeted to the 200 fund. So I think it has to go to the 100 fund.
And is that's called repair and maintenance garage, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, so, I guess we would be looking for a motion to, when that money comes in, to have Elaine.
Direct Elaine to budget, to deposit it
Reimburse that account.
into the 100 fund, but to be not to just lump it together with reimbursements or miscellaneous, because that's where we get into a lot of like stoppage, we're like, what is this miscellaneous? And we have to then pull up a report or ask her to pull up a report.
Right, if she could put it directly into repair maintenance garage, that actual line item.
Well, we can't put a revenue into an expense
okay.
line item. We used to, years ago, we used to have how much it cost to recycle, and then in parens, we had how much we got from
Right.
bags.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
But we can't do that anymore, but we can be explicit when we do it as a revenue, not a miscellaneous, not a, the reimbursement, cause I think we're getting better at it, like FEMA 23 flood, instead of just state payment, so we just have to have her spell it out, so.
Okay.
All right, so do we have a motion on that? You made a motion to,
I just said I was looking for someone to make a motion.
oh, okay.
Make a motion to direct the treasurer to apply those grant funds to the town garage maintenance line item.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
You've got 4 there.
All
Okay.
right, and then going forward with passive, I believe they're funding that grant again in January. It's usually rolling from January till October. Jeremy and I have talked about things that we regularly purchase that fall under that we can keep track of for this year, so we can make that list for reimbursement.
Like things,
next round.
what kind of things?
Plow blades.
Tires, big
Um,
tires?
I don't think tires are on there.
Too bad.
It's pretty specific and it changes. So when they make the new announcement, I can bring that information
Okay.
back on what they will. But it is part of a conversation that we're having now that we're in budget season about things that we normally buy. And we're not going to go outside of what we normally buy, but if we can get a 50% reimbursement, we should. Okay, fountain. Still working on that. Still looking for a contractor to give us an estimate. I asked Steve. Steve gave me some ideas. Allie gave me some ideas. So hopefully I'll have an update next time with a little bit more concrete. The municipal sign package and lighting grants, we have not heard back from yet. I attended Municipal Day and I took workshops that were specifically related to grants and municipal planning, land preservation grants, recreation grants. I got a lot of information. A lot of it I already had. Some of it was worth going to, mostly because at least the money is still there and there was no talk of it not being there.
Good.
So that was my biggest takeaway. The tree grants, tree removal grants that Rob had asked me to look into, those applications don't open until November, but we did discuss this at our highway meeting, that when they do open, what we could use that for, because I had been given some information from Adam, the state forester. We talked about possible locations for how much we could get out of these small amounts to remove some dead trees, and I think we talked about priority segments on Windham Hill Road, starting there. We're not going to get a lot done with that grant if we were to get it, but we can start somewhere with removing trees, and it's nice when we don't have to pay for the full cost. So that's something that I'll pursue when that comes up. The town hall, I met with Caitlin Corkins, Allie, a representative from the cultural facilities grants and a representative from Preservation Trust. They're very interested, continuing to be very interested in our town hall. They happened to be in the area and we set up a meeting just for a walkthrough and a site visit. And they gave us a lot of information on how we can continue to chip away at this accessibility of the building and then encourage greater use. And basically we broke it down into steps to where we could go for a municipal planning grant for that architecture plan, much like what we got reimbursed for the architectural plan for the front of the building. We could explore the idea of an elevator or whatever we might need, because the ADA stuff isn't going away. They do understand that we're working on it, and these are incentives for us to continue to work on that in a reasonable amount of time. Also because we're just not going to do any of those projects overnight, but it is important to keep these conversations going with these different
It was nice to have them all together.
it was good, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're very interested in our building. We showed them all around and talked about a lot of possibilities that really kind of made more sense. So after that kind of planning grant first stage, then you can really understand what you need and how much it's going to cost. And then you can move into blending a smaller grant like a cultural facilities with a larger grant, which would be accessibility grants. And those can be pretty large. So that's kind of where we left off, but it was a lot of good
They were
information.
very encouraging.
They were, and then they also told me to reach out to Hardwick, Vermont, because they just did almost this exact project in their town hall. So that's good, and that's something that I'll be continuing that discussion. I met with Colin from Wyndham Regional about, because we did not get the pedestrian grant for the sidewalks, and he wanted to come back around and start talking to us about getting a Better Backroads grant for a culvert on Route 35, and possibly a TAP grant for an engineering study on East Hill Road, if we want to do that. We're not sure because we have a lot going on, and Jeremy and I didn't get a chance to discuss it at length before we had this meeting with Colin, so Jeremy and I are going to meet tomorrow. And in terms of those sidewalks, which we do think are a priority, those bike and pedestrian grants will be back in the spring, so I think that continuing to plan that project and then apply in the spring makes a lot of sense.
Did he say why we didn't get it?
He didn't. We were really good candidates for it, so it's kind of strange that we didn't. So he had discussed the possibility of going for a TAP grant for that sidewalk, but it's my understanding that the TAP grants can be rather large if you want them to be. And if we were going to do sidewalk, we might plan a much larger project than that.
Well, somebody was saying that if we could do the walking trails, that we have so many around town, but they're not really developed well.
Yep.
But if we could develop them and include it in the sidewalk, then maybe it would be a more attractive.
They actually at Municipal Day discussed grants
that.
that are separate from these transportation grants that have everything to do with walking trails and recreation like that I can bring back information for. But for now, we are not sure if we're moving forward on either of these applications, because we have to really put our heads together and decide if this is something that we can fit into our budget and the plan for the
These are
next
the
year.
culverts and
The culverts and the engineering study, it's just what are the matches gonna be and what's reasonable to plan at this point.
Right.
Considering we have the 2 bridge projects and a bunch of other stuff going on. So I will have more information next month on those, but that's where we left off. And I'm done.
Okay, you mentioned Adam in passing, the forester. Is it the 6th of November that we have
I believe so.
the common? Maybe we should just announce that now. It's
Sure.
not really in your, it's in your common duties, not your grant duties, but do you want to announce that and what it is and remind folks?
Sure, we're having, how do you even say it, tree trimming?
Tree pruning.
Tree
It's
pruning
like a
workshop on
workshop.
November 6th. I don't remember what time it's happening at.
I think it's like lunchtime, isn't it? Somewhere around 11. But we'll put it out on Front Porch Forum
Yeah.
as a reminder, but I just wanted to say it at the meeting.
Yep, and they'll be replacing the tree that the road crew took out for us that had died from the grant project. So that'll be nice. That'll get in the ground that
Did
day.
we get the bags up,
Bags
Joe?
are off, yeah.
Good.
Great. Okay.
Okay, that was it.
How long are we gonna be expected to water this thing?
I don't think we need to water them anymore. Maybe the
No,
new
I mean,
right into
The new one, we have to ask them when they come.
Yeah.
They're supposed to give us all that
Tree pruning
information.
is from 11 to 1:30.
11 to 1:30.
Thank you.
Somebody may want to warn the school and tell them not to recess outside that day.
Yeah.
Okay,
That was for
I
time.
think,
We didn't even think of that. We should have scheduled that during a vacation day.
well,
I mean, we can use the
It's
comment.
gonna be pretty chaotic over there.
You know what? It could also be a learning experience.
right,
Alright. Do you want me, I can contact the school.
you work, Connie.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked to them about the trees at length.
Okay.
So I'll talk
Yeah.
to them again.
Okay. Now, I think we're on to old business, salt and sand bids contracts. Do you wanna open them,
I can.
since you have them in your hands?
Alright. These look like salt. Is this one sand?
I don't know.
So Zaluzny and Mitchell will be sand,
Yeah.
Cargill and Eastern Salt will be salt.
Okay. I have Zaluzny. Alright. So this is from Zaluzny Excavating Corporation in Vernon, Vermont. Okay, and they submitted a bid for 4,000 approximately cubic yards of Winter Road sand delivered to 1102 Grafton Road at $25.45 per cubic yard. Sand delivered on an as-needed basis, and they provided their insurance. So it's 25.45. Total is what, about 10,000?
What do we have budgeted for it? Do you know?
$101,800.
It's an email that may be acceptable if it's okay, but
Okay. Yes. Do you have it there?
no, it should be.
This
Do you
is
want
it.
these? These are both salt. This is also salt.
Mitchell Materials, I think, is the other sand.
I don't have it here.
It's salt. Salt is the.
It's a salt one, okay. So we just had one sand bid? Is that correct?
That's what it looks like.
I just don't see a Mitchell anywhere.
Alright, here,
Derek didn't want it?
He's got so much what if you haven't noticed, they've been working 7 days a week. He's got a lot going. He said if we get in a pinch and we need something somewhere, just call him, so.
Yeah. Well, that was the sand bid then, Zaluzny. So that was approximately total $101,000. That ballpark sounds
and
good.
actually, I think that price actually went down this year, surprisingly. I think it was paying 20. Here, I have to look at what we were paying last year, but it hasn't gone up.
Yeah.
I think
A
she
couple of
left,
cents, if anything.
I think she left a folder with last year's.
Salt, on the other hand, hold on to your seat.
What was
See?
the name of that company?
Zaluzny.
Zaluzny.
CALUZNY. Make a motion to accept Zaluzny's bid for sand at $25.45 per cubic yard.
Second?
Oh, that's good. Nice that something went down 40 cents.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
We've got a motion and a second.
Oh, did we?
Yep.
Yes.
Just-
Okay, vote. Unless there's further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 4.
Okay. And then we have one emailed quote and one delivered quote. So I can start with the emailed quote. This is coming from Barrett Trucking in Burlington, Vermont. And they are quoting $98.25 per ton of salt at a quantity of 650 tons, which would be approximately $63,862.50 in total for that total amount of salt. They also said we're not obligated to purchase the full amount.
How many tons do we usually get?
Yeah, do you know that?
Depends on the year.
Yeah.
think they used just over 7 last year,
7 tons,
700 tons.
700 tons.
So is 650 tons a good starting
What
point?
we've been budgeting for the last couple of years.
Okay.
Okay.
This bid is coming from Eastern Salt Company in Lowell, Mass. And they are bidding also approximately 650 tons for $105.90 per ton.
So one was 98.
Yeah, the first one was 98.25 and the second one was 105.90.
I'd like to make a motion to accept
So-
Barrett Trucking's.
So Connie says that, Jeremy, you should weigh in on whether you wanna enter a contract or just order as it needed.
Well, I know I talked to the guy from Appalachia the other day, they don't generally sign contracts, they do it as needed. I was just wondering if it might be better for us to not sign a contract and just call around as we need it, see who's got the best price at this point. Cardinal definitely has the best price by quite a bit. When I talked to the Appalachia guy, because I asked if he was gonna put a quote in, and he sent me an email at 106.50 a ton, so those two
But
companies.
why wouldn't we just go with the 98? That it's that much
I'm
cheaper?
just saying, if the prices drop from another company under the, I
If
know a lot of towns like Travis up in Dover, he doesn't sign a contract with anybody, he calls around, see who's got the best price at the moment, and goes with the best price.
Yeah, and in the email from Barrett, they said if we want to go with Cargill, just to sign the Cargill bid that they already sent, which I don't have
They
here.
probably have state bid, so
Yeah, that's
So what
right.
was last year's price?
86.75,
Yeah, that's
so
$10 lower
that budget number
per
is,
ton.
I'm gonna try to toe the line with salt this year, so.
The only thing I have a comment to add to it though is if you don't have a signed contract with them, they can all refuse to deliver if there's a shortage.
Or they can deliver at any cost.
And there could be a shortage.
And going into a contract, as we right here, does not lock us into purchasing any amount.
No, it doesn't, I don't think it says anything that we have to go with.
No, it just is locking us into a
I
price.
just wanted to be
And
honest
the delivery.
clarification, if I call around when I need salt and
So,
somebody else is cheaper than Cargill,
so you're saying if we accept this 98,
25.
that we can get it from somebody else also? Well, then I think that's a win-win.
but like Gail said too, if there's a shortage, they can't refuse us.
Yeah,
If we
exactly.
have this
If we have a
agreement,
contract for this amount,
good.
yeah.
I think that's good. So do I hear a motion?
It's Barrett Trucking, right?
Barrett truck,
Okay, I'd
yeah.
like to make a motion to accept Barrett Trucking's bid for $98.25 a ton for
Second.
salt.
Salt. Yeah, second.
And any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, and we have a common use agreement for the school, the thespian.
This is just confirmed copy.
Oh.
first. So what is that?
Sometimes the front is given out and not the back. The back has no vehicles on the common, that information in detail. For the Pumpkin Festival, which was a lovely thing, but they had like 6 or 8 vehicles on the common. And there was obvious dents and divots from them moving around, and especially if we're gonna resurface the common, we have to get more strict with that. I did come back and communicate with the school that did the Pumpkin Festival and said, we talked about this, we talked about possibly having food vendors lined up in front of the school on the blacktop and have like a food row of people that wouldn't come onto the common with their heavy vehicles. And he said, I know, we tried, we were unsuccessful. I said, well, next time we're gonna remind you ahead of time. And you just can't do this.
It's funny that they needed to, because there's been other festivals where they just pull right up to the edge of the common and it's
Yeah.
not a big deal.
Yeah.
I know, and
In
some,
those exact locations actually that I saw those vendors just back. So it's funny that they wanted to go onto the grass when they didn't need to.
well, it's like, Tanner Wynot's wife, she was right next to the electrical outlet on the common, you know, but that's a big, heavy vehicle.
Yeah.
So we have to protect our lawn, so that was why this came. Is this our final, town rental, and if so, both sides should be given out? And I'm just asking.
I do think both pieces need to be given out. This is something, you know, like last year and the year before that we had discussed, and it's been ongoing, but I
Kind
think
of
we.
keeps getting kicked around.
Yeah, I know that, when I was working on it and discussing it with Sherwood, we had like said it was important to give like both pieces. You need an application, but you need a policy. If no one knows what the rules are, then how are they gonna
Right.
follow them? So,
And then I also think we should have a firm, who do we charge and who don't we charge? Is it a resident? Is it, if they're making money, like the school made money for the graduating class, is that actually making money, or is that just fundraising for something? So, because you would hate to not be equitable and, you know, charge one and not charge another that was pretty similar. So that's my only comment there.
I kind of felt like I've always been okay with kind of deciding those things on a case-by-case basis. I think things come up and different people apply for different reasons, and we get enough information usually that we can kind of make those decisions. I understand about being equitable, but also we're just so small that maybe it's okay for us.
Well, we used to have the dining room was one fee, the upstairs was another fee. The upstairs during winter months when heat would have to be an issue
Yeah.
was a different one.
We haven't changed that, right? So
So this is good,
Yes.
I'm good
I
with
think
this
we
one.
can do.
Okay. good. And
I
tell
think this
Lenka
is
that,
definitely something, like a reminder for the common use is maybe we need to be stricter about just charging the deposit
Yeah,
if there are damages like this.
and then keep.
Then we have to keep the deposit, but
Makes
otherwise
sense.
follow the rules and you get the deposit back.
good idea. Then one of the new business before we go on is the Ray Chapin's request to use town hall.
It's not in our packet.
It was just.
It's this year.
Yeah,
We go
but
through
I
reevaluation
mentioned
of
it
roads
during
first.
additions and deletions.
Yeah. Okay, I make a motion to approve Ray Chapin's town hall use request for the Thespian Society induction for Leland and Gray on Thursday, November 6th from 5:30 to 9 p.m. And to waive the fee. And authorize Ally on behalf of the board to sign.
Second.
Okay.
This is the,
Oh, that's cool, I like they're doing that.
Okay, and a second, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
4 has it. Okay, then I think, if I'm correct, the last thing we have is reevaluation of roads. I talked to Steve at the beginning of the meeting. We had talked one or two meetings prior about roads that were short roads that had been called a town road that only went to like one house. And what is our responsibility to these roads? I tried to figure out. Steve, do you want to talk to the money piece of it that we talked in the beginning? Here, I'll show you this. I showed Steve before the meeting began, and we talked about what mileage would be. If we threw up all those roads, what mileage would we be talking about?
So if we threw up Stratton Drive, Schoolhouse, Hall, Island, Red Wing, Able, Buck Hill, Maggie Ladd, I'm not sure what section of Buck Hill.
I'm not.
The state forest side.
Okay. So you're looking at $5,200 annually and what we get reimbursed from the state if we were to throw up those roads. And throwing up the road is not that easy. We can't just do that. But those would be the candidates. I mean, I'm all in favor of hall and schoolhouse, the ones,
Those are the two main ones, they're just maintenance nightmares, you know that.
absolutely, absolutely.
And they're dangerous to be, I mean, you've been down them backwards a bunch of times, I've been down a couple of them.
Yep.
They're just, and you know, they're hard to keep material on because they're so steep and they don't get enough traffic to get packed in.
So it's something to
So,
think about.
what,
The other thing we could do is reclassify too, I've been told, is an easier way to go about it. Go from 3s to 4s.
The force,
would you like to put this folder in Connie's possession and have her research with VLCT whether it's, yes,
The only thing else is those property owners on that, I brought up at our budget committee, our highway committee meeting, would be that ain't just the $5,300 that you'd be losing. Every property owner on those roads would be able to request the listers for reclassifications. They would have a property value loss.
I asked
That's
the
not
listers
on.
about that.
We have not really seen lower values for the houses that are on private roads that I'm aware of. I can take a look
I
and
would
see.
believe there is a pot, there is part of your lister's card, you would know that. There's a value for curbside.
There is not a specific value.
Code.
There is not a specific value. It goes into the land grade. We can certainly look at the values on the roads
If
that
there's
are
an impact.
to see if they are necessarily lower.
And I did pull a couple of deeds to see if they were on a deeded town road, and they, the couple I pulled, they were not. So why don't we ask Connie to figure out what our next steps are and to confer with you?
So we've actually did some of that at Municipal Day. Connie and I took a workshop on this. They walked us through, it's in the packet, completely walked us through that process. And we were able to ask some questions about the road that we discussed at our last meeting, because there is a process for when you don't necessarily reclassify the road, but you get an exception for when it's dangerous in the winter. Not having to do with these roads, but what we discussed at our last meeting. So Connie and I and our highway committee had discussed these roads, this process, and then trying to find out exactly what those exceptions are and what it means to reclassify. So that's all been kind of in the works and discussed, and I think that we should be able to.
So the committee is recommending 3 roads.
I don't think our committee has completely recommended anything. We're just in the process of looking into it and happened to sit in on a worksheet that explained the process.
So it's only discussion now, and
But if the select board wants us to look specifically into those 3 roads, I believe. we can
well,
do that.
I mean, we have a whole list of roads. So if we're gonna look at them, we might as well look at all of them
That makes
and
sense.
make decisions from there.
They're all basically driveways.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the property owners would be notified because there's a whole process of public meeting and
Public hearing
everything.
for each one.
Yeah.
It's like the agent roads, I
Yeah.
was on the board for that, and we had to have a public hearing on the location, and then
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's more than a few days.
yeah. I mean,
And then
Stratton,
it's each road.
Stratton and Schoolhouse are 2 roads that are driveways that are very difficult to turn around in. And you can cut a tire on Schoolhouse like that if you get too close to the stone wall when you make the corner at the top of the driveway. I mean, it's,
Those schoolhouses like this.
yeah,
It's-
the tire chains, I mean, one storm, because our winters are changing, our roads are not frozen. We're plowing 24 inches of snow at a 24-degree angle road, and you can't get up it, and I gotta call A.S. Clerk to come with a bulldozer
Yeah.
How many times have we
to
done
do a
that
driveway.
in the last 6 years?
and what does that cost?
Thousands.
Yeah,
oh wow.
so,
Not to mention if something does happen in a truck and it comes down and flops over, or, I mean,
Yeah.
then there's thousands of dollars in damages, not
Tens
to
of
mention
thousands.
tow bills and everything else, you
Yeah.
know? Or if we can tow it ourselves, it's time to get a couple of different pieces of equipment up there, and it's pulling us away from other stuff, they're maintenance nightmares, so. We
So-
don't wanna single anybody out, so we'll put the other roads out there too.
Right.
Right, so, we put that off for further research, and I don't see anything else left on our list, do you folks?
I have one question that's not on the list.
Okay.
And it just came up in an email, and then I checked the planning commission meeting minutes from the last meeting. But apparently Bob Servo is stepping down from the planning commission,
He
but
already
we have
did.
not received anything through select board.
Yeah, I think we did,
Okay,
Connie did. She showed me, I thought she showed us.
okay. And it just
I
didn't
thought
come
she
in the
showed
last
us
meeting.
on the board.
It didn't come up in the
It
last meeting,
didn't,
then
yeah.
I just wanted
It-
to check if
it-
that was
it-
official.
it
and
was
when we can
official.
start moving on.
And they already
to appoint
had-
a fifth person.
They already had 6 instead of 5, so I don't know that they need another one,
Okay,
but
great.
Well, we approved Nick, I'm looking at you, Rick,
Yes,
Matchkey.
yeah.
Because he was
that
the
kind of
extra
sixth
one,
alternate, yeah.
and he wanted to be on the board, they didn't need him, but they put him on because he was good.
right,
And now we were down one and we don't need to replace because he's already there,
right.
Great,
so,
cool. Just want to close the loop.
and,
Motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn, I hear that
Second.
second.
Aye,
All those in
aye, aye, aye,
favor? All right. Did you hear